Good afternoon. It's Thursday. It is 3:08 p.m. and it's time for you to be adrenalized. That's right, folks. It's time to get that blood flowing and get re-energized. Why? Because you're here. You're alive, and it's time to be motivated to be your best self. All right, everyone, welcome to a beautiful Thursday afternoon. It is just absolutely gorgeous outside right now. It is a beautiful day for people like me to say it's a beautiful day for baseball. Love the energy in the atmosphere right now. And hello, everyone. I welcome you to the Tom Marino Show. I'm your host, Success Strategy Coach Tom Marino. Thank you for tuning in. I want to hear from you. I want you to visit me at tommarino.com. That's tommarino.com. If you haven't already visited my website, please go to tommarino.com, and follow me on Instagram at Tom Marino Coaching. That's at Tom Marino Coaching. And you can also follow at LI News Radio on Instagram. We're a family here, and we help each other out in self-promoting and making sure that everybody gets on the same page. So go to Instagram. That's the place that everything's happening. And before we get into the nuts and bolts of our show today, I want to thank our sponsor, New House Restoration, where they turn your damaged old house into a new house. Visit them at newhouserestoration.com. That's newhouserestoration.com. If you've had a flood, fire, sewer backup, or asbestos damage, contact New House Restoration. Give them a call at 631-604-8590. That's 631-604-8590. Tell Josh and Kristen that Tom Marino sent you. All right, everyone. Today we have a very special guest. I've been lining up a whole bunch of cool people that I've known through my Long Island Networkers connection. And, if you want to be on the show, you're a small business owner, reach out to me at Tom Marino Coaching on Instagram, and we'll get you on the show. But today we have a very special guest. His name is Anthony Nazzolillo. He is Chief Legal Counsel from On Point Land Services Corporation. Anthony is a seasoned attorney representing individual corporate buyers, sellers, and lenders in both routine and complex residential and commercial real estate transactions. So, Anthony, welcome to the show, my friend.
Tom, how are you? Thank you so much for having me. Glad to be here.
I am so excited that you're here, my friend. Listen, we the energy that you bring to this room already, it's insane. You're all pumped up. I love it. I love what's going on right now.
I'm feeding off of you, my friend.
All right. Hey, you were adrenalized, right, brother?
Absolutely.
That's what it's all about.
Now, that was an intro.
Yep. And, listen, we do what we got to do. So, Anthony, tell us a little bit about what you do, title insurance. What is that? Tell my listeners. I know people out there know. I'm sure if you bought a home, you know that you had to do a title search and all of that. But tell us about that. Tell us about what you do.
Sure, not a problem. Well, essentially, title insurance, the name is indicative as to what it means. You're buying insurance with respect to the title you're acquiring in the home that you're purchasing or the premises that you're purchasing. So what title insurance does, it's a one-time premium where you actually purchase a policy from a title insurance company that's issuing the insurance to assure that there's no defects or clouds on title that you are now obtaining from the person from whom you are buying from.
Okay. And why is that so critical?
Oh, it's extremely critical because there could be breaks in the chain of title. There could be prior owner mortgages. In other words, if you bought your house from person A, but the deed from person A to B was never recorded, that in and of itself could present an issue. If there was a transaction, because keep in mind, just to digress, the house you're buying, unless it's a newly constructed house or being bought from a sponsor in a condo or something, has been owned by someone before and presumably someone before that. So we usually do a 40-year look back to the chain of title. We search the abstracts just to make sure, again, that there's continuity of flow as far as title's concerned. And if there's any issues, our job is to clear it up.
That's fantastic. And you hold several different roles, right? So I know you work, On Point is like your main place, correct?
Correct.
And tell us a little bit about what other stuff you're into right now, where you work in consulting, et cetera.
Sure. Well, On Point Land Services, that's the title company where I'm chief counsel, and great people. I just want to give a shout out, if I be so kind, as to everyone
absolutely
there. To B. Demaracos, Kim Ward, Marilyn Thier, Lisa Chiatra, and Karen McCready.
Did you tell them you were going to mention all of them on the radio today?
I did not. I really didn't. I'm telling you right now. So hopefully they're surprised, and I hope I got their last names right. But yeah, that's my mainstay. In addition to that, we have a sister company called Keen Settlement. Services Inc. And what Keen does is we serve as settlement agents, we represent lenders in closing transactions, in both refinances and in purchases. So if there's a lending component involved with a purchase, the bank will have a settlement agent or a bank attorney representing them. So that's the purpose that Keen Settlement serves, in addition to refinance. So we represent the lender, and essentially the borrower of the lender is our customer to a certain degree, because again, we're working with the bank to effectuate the closing being seen to conclusion, absent an issue.
Right. So you have both components in there. If you do a title search and you have a problem, you have a settlement. Absolutely. Yes. That totally makes sure everything that happens. Did I follow that right?
Brilliant.
All right.
A map could not have drawn a better.
I couldn't have drawn a straighter line to that one.
Kidding me? That was great.
Awesome. So if you want, if you need a title company, onpointland.com is the website, correct?
Correct. www.onpointland.com.
Fantastic. And what's another way people can reach you if they need help with this?
We have our office number is 516-600-9750. We're also on Facebook On Point Land Services, and we're also on Instagram On Point Land Services.
Fantastic. So you could find them anywhere on social media, and you can find them definitely by just looking at their website, onpointland.com. So for those of you just tuning in, we're speaking with Anthony Nazzolillo, Chief Legal Counsel for On Point Land Services Corporation. And you guys are located in Merrick, which is my hometown, which is awesome. We were just talking about that before the show.
Love it. It's like its own little world.
Its own little world. And if people, how do you get connected to this, right? Do you work mostly with mortgage lenders? Do you work mostly with real estate agents? Like, what is your gateway into this?
Yes, that's the answer to the question. So, obviously, in addition to being general counsel and chief counsel to the companies, I'm also, an attorney where I represent. I happen to be a general practitioner. I'm also of counsel to Toro Law PC. They're a firm in Brooklyn, where we do pretty much everything. But again, my mainstay is in Merrick and in On Point, where I do serve as a real estate attorney. And in that capacity, I do deal with all the parties involved, i.e. the real estate broker, who is he or she will be the one who will procure a ready, willing, and able buyer for a seller or represent the seller as far as listing the home. The mortgage banker, again, if there's a lending component and it's not an all cash purchase, obviously I'll deal with them as well.
Right.
And then I'll deal with the buyer's attorney, with the seller's attorney, with the realtors, and obviously the buyer and the seller in my capacity as the title company. If I'm representing the buyer or the seller, I will deal obviously with my client and with the attorney for the opposite side, depending on what side I'm on.
And typically you do a title search once you go into contract, right? That's the typical
correct.
process.
Once the contract is signed, fully executed by both parties, at that point in time is when I will order a title report, because it could take some time to get.
Yeah, like how long does some of those take? Like what's the longest that some take?
Well, there's two different parts of the title. There's the title that is insurable. Essentially, those would be the searches against the property and the people. Make sure that there's no liens manifested or encumbering the property. And in addition to that, the second tier part of the search would be the municipal searches. That's the certificate of occupancy, housing and building search. Those aren't insured by the title company. They're informational purposes only. But the information is extremely prudent, because the certificate of occupancy will show whether or not the house conforms with housing and building code. In other words, if a C of O, as it's called, was issued for a one-family house with a garage, but now a one-family house with a garage and an in-ground pool and a deck is what's there. There's a deviation from the code, so you need to confirm.
Yeah, no, that totally makes sense. I remember when I bought my house, we needed to make sure that there was a CO for the second floor of the bathroom, and that came up in the search. So listen, everyone, if you want to join us after the commercial break, we're talking with Anthony Nazzolillo, Chief Legal Counsel to On Point Land Services, and you can find them at onpointland.com. That's onpointland.com, and also on Facebook and Instagram at On Point Land Services. We will continue our conversation after this break, but in the meantime, if you haven't checked out my Instagram at Tom Marino Coaching, please go look at some of the posts from this week. Like a post. That's all I need you to do. Just go like a post and follow me. That's Tom Marino Coaching. We'll be back right after this break.
Well, I should probably warn you, I'll be just...
Hey, this is Tom Marino of The Tom Marino Show here. Imagine you wake up and you've had a major sewer backup in your home. Well, let me tell you about a company that I've worked with personally, New House Restoration, where they take your damaged old house and make it a new house. For any water, fire, mold, or asbestos damage, please call them at 631-604-8590. That's 631-604-8590. New House Restoration. And welcome back to the Tom Marino Show. I'm your host, Success Strategy Coach Tom Marino. Thank you so much for tuning back in on this beautiful May 26th. Gorgeous Thursday afternoon out there. Go outside if you're sitting at your computer right now and you've been working from home all day, or if you're driving home, open that sunroof, let the windows in, let the fresh air in. It is a beautiful, beautiful day out there. I know the pollen count's high, so if you have allergies, don't. But, you get my point. Get out there and enjoy the sun. It is beautiful. We're going to have some rain this weekend, I understand, so try to capture as much of this. And hey, this is Memorial Day weekend. It's a great opportunity to get the barbecues going, get everything out there. I know there's a few people out there right now that are celebrating birthdays this weekend. And listen, today is May 26th. And I realized this morning when I was getting ready for the show, this is my 26th show. This is the 26th time I've done this since I started back in December. And I cannot believe the 6 months has flown by so quickly. So I am so grateful that I continue to get to do this. I'm so grateful to Josh and Kristen Newhouse for sponsoring the show. That's New House Restoration. They're committed to this for the next year with me. And I just appreciate the opportunity to continue to be here. And I get to talk to great people, and we're having a great conversation today with Anthony Nazzolillo, who is the Chief Legal Counsel from On Point Land Services Corporation in Merrick. And Anthony is a real estate attorney, title attorney. You got 92 different titles.
I wear a lot of hats.
Yeah, a lot of hats, and you're wearing a hat right now.
And I'm wearing a hat as we speak.
People can't appreciate it right now, but you could totally. I love your vibe, man. Listen, I know there's so many things about you that I want to get into and talk about, but one of the things that really struck me was your journey to becoming an attorney, right? Your inspiration for becoming an attorney. Tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah, I mean, it sounds a little cliche, but in high school, I read To Kill a Mockingbird, and Atticus Finch just resonated with me. The power, and it wasn't even a movie; it was a book. But the way the good that he served, the justice that he promoted, and the way he was respected, it really resonated with me. And my actual quote, my high school senior quote, was to be a successful attorney or to marry rich. Wow. And I love my wife, Ashley, very much, but she ain't rich.
Well, you know what? You married rich in a different way, probably.
Absolutely. Oh, beyond money.
I talk to clients all the time about that. I go, what does success mean for you, right? Because as a success strategy coach, people ask me, what's that success strategy? What is that all about? What do you do? And I say, I help people to define what their success looks like, and then I give them the strategies to get there, right? So success means so many things. And financial freedom is one of those successes that people like to achieve and what we all strive for. But no, I love To Kill a Mockingbird. It's one of my favorite books of all time. It is just by far one of the, quintessential epic law cases, stories of trauma to a child, and we're seeing a lot of that these days, right, but we're not going to get into that right now. But the bottom line is that I love how that's inspiration that you set out in high school. Like, did you just know at that moment that was what it was going to be for you?
I knew definitively. It started the path. It started the journey for me, and then there was a other variety of things that came into play. In law school, once I eventually got there, the job that I got out of law school was with a firm that happened to be how I got into real estate. You mean law? Yeah, the book was pretty much it. Right. And then my dad's best friend growing up happened to be general counsel to a company, and that inspired me also. It was just a bunch of things. Right. And then, just the movies that came out, the TV shows at that time in the 90s started
John
to focus.
Grisham, man.
Right. Oh, of course. When The Firm came out, actually my favorite author, I've read every single book from Pelican Brief to The Client to The Firm. So it was a combination of those things, but definitely the catalyst would be To Kill a Mockingbird.
I think most favorite John Grisham movie, the book that was made into a movie, was The Rainmaker.
Oh, it's
I mean,
great.
that by far is one of the ones I think they played. Danny DeVito was just so
It's
funny
phenomenal.
in that movie.
I'm partial to The Client. I like that the most.
Absolutely. That was another
not,
good one.
Not to take away from any of the books, because they're just great.
It's amazing how it really translates into reality. And you said you went to when you were in law school. How did you get into real estate?
Yeah,
right?
that's what ended up happening. The firm, I mean, basically, like in My Cousin Vinny, everyone learns the same thing in law school: statutes and precedents and contracts. But then the firm that hires you is really where you really learn. And I ended up working for a firm at the time that was they were a pretty big firm, and they covered a lot, every aspect of law, but it happened to be the time that the refinance boom hit. So they moved the young associates into the real estate department. Okay. And that's when I became really mesmerized with real estate, because what people don't realize, when it comes to real estate law, it really is like taking a bunch of different law and throwing it in a blender, because you deal with contracts, you deal with corporations, you deal with trusts, you deal with estates. There's different entities that are buying, that are purchasing, that are leasing, that are renting. So really,
it's like a mishmash. It's a whole pool of stuff.
There's divorce proceedings where people are separation of marital property happens to be the home. So that's really what it was. It's like, wow, this facet of law really contains everything. So you touch upon everything, and especially in the title business, that's another reason why I was drawn to, because you're really dealing with everything. It's not that some laws, they're niched, they're pigeonholed. Right. And essentially, you don't deviate from the realm that you're in. Not at all with real estate. Right. So that's what it was for me.
So general counsel, really, I mean, this is like the perfect thing. You get a piece of everything. It's
great, because in addition to the real estate stuff, obviously I serve as a legal advisor to the CEO of the companies, and so we have our own issues, obviously, and legal things that come up. So yeah, in that capacity as well.
That's fantastic. I love that, and I love My Cousin Vinny. My favorite movie.
2 Utes?
2 Utes. What do you mean? What do you mean? 2 Utes. Shout out to Ralph Macchio, who always is at the Islander games. We see him there. Right. But it's one of my favorite movies. But you're right.
I'm a Ranger fan. Sorry, but it's okay.
Sorry about that.
Sorry. What do you mean sorry?
No, I know. Listen, nobody's perfect, but I know they're doing. They got further than we did this year. But hey, that's what it's about.
Sure.
But that's great. And Anthony, you said before that it kind of like was this. There was a lot of things that came into becoming a lawyer, and a lot of things that you weren't. Was there some sidetracks that you experienced, or was there some confusion at some point?
It's funny. When I went to college, I knew I wanted to be an attorney, but then the question becomes, what do you major in? Right. A lot of attorneys major in English or poli-sci, but I got good guidance from my dad, who happens to be my idol and my mentor. And what he said to me was, yes, you can do that, but if you get a specialized degree, it'll make you much more marketable and much more important. Plus, you'll learn a lot more and it'll bring more to the table. So I ended up majoring in accounting, but there came a time, I think it was my sophomore year, where I really didn't like it, and I really was conflicted, and I wanted to change majors. I think I was actually heading to the office to change majors, and I spoke to my dad, and he's like, look, hear me now, believe me later. I know it seems this way, but you're not going to be practicing accounting anyway. You're going to be a lawyer, but you'll see. And it really was, aside from all the other great advice he's given me in life, that was great, and it kept me on the path to accounting, because it actually helps your mind become computational, whereas law is more analytical.
Right.
So it's like you get a trained brain in all aspects. Yeah. Most lawyers never took accounting or finance. They majored in English. So when it comes to computation, when it comes to that kind of theory and analysis, I wouldn't say they're lacking. They're just not familiar with it because they never engaged it in a practical application.
Well, when I think of a lawyer, and I think of everything you have to put together, and when you think about when you go to a closing for a house, the stacks and the reams of paper and all that stuff.
It's like the Old Testament or the New Testament.
It's ridiculous.
Or whatever you're into.
You got to read all of that stuff, right? So if you're not a quick reader, like I'm not a quick reader at all. I could never be a lawyer for that purpose, just because I couldn't get through all those things. I'd be one of the slowest person.
The trees don't like us at all.
Yeah, and that's the thing. Has there been any reform with the digital age in the practice of law?
That's a brilliant question. There has been to a certain extent, but the things with closings and to that effect, since it involves original signatures and the potential for fraud being done that way is exponentially high. So essentially, I don't think it'll ever get to the point where it's completely digital. There'll always be some sort of paper format by necessity. And again,
Right.
that's, with technology, good things come, but also bad things.
Yeah, it's true, and that's the thing. We're always evolving, and we see that too in medicine. Because I've been in medicine for 20 years. The evolution from paper charts to electronic charts. You got to really have the right systems in place to do that. All right, we're going to continue our conversation with Anthony Nalzalillo at the end after this commercial break. But in the meantime, go visit his company at onpointland.com. That's onpointland.com, and you can reach out to them on Facebook and Instagram at OnPoint Land Services. And go visit my website, tommarino.com. Go to the radio page. Leave me a question, a comment. I want to hear from you. I want to hear your questions. I want to be able to help and answer some of the questions that you may be wanting to ask and just are afraid to ask. But go there. Go to tommarino.com. Leave a question. All right, we'll talk to you right after this break.
Well, I should probably warn you, I'll be just fine. No offense to you, don't waste your time.
Hi, this is Tom Marino, success strategy coach and host of The Tom Marino Show. I want to invite you to join me and make the changes that you desire in your life. If you're a small business owner, entrepreneur, or executive that is struggling with burnout, overwhelm, or stress, then contact me at tommarino.com. That's tommarino.com. I will navigate you to achieve the success you desire. I will introduce you to 6 simple steps that will change your professional and personal life, and I will help you to choose your adrenalized life. An adrenalized life is an action mindset that empowers you to act decisively so that you can be more productive and get more done. If you are stuck, suffer from analysis paralysis, and can't get stuff done, do you want that to change? If the answer is yes, then contact me, Tom Marino, Success Strategy Coach, at tommarino.com. That's tommarino.com. And remember, you can choose your adrenalized life.
Because I'm happy. Clap along.
And welcome back to the Tom Marino Show. I'm your host, Success Strategy Coach Tom Marino. Thank you again for tuning back in on this beautiful Thursday afternoon, May 26th. Yes, it is May 26th already, people. It is Memorial Day weekend. I hope you all have great plans for this weekend. You're going to get out there and see the sunshine, and hopefully that rain doesn't really interrupt too many of your plans this weekend. But, we're excited for a great beginning to the summer season. Welcome back to this part of the show. We've been talking with Anthony Nalzalillo from OnPoint Land Services, and I want to thank him and OnPoint Land Services for sponsoring today's episode. OnPoint Land Services Corporation is an attorney-based real estate title insurance company with headquarters in Merrick. Their staff is comprised of highly competent real estate title insurance professionals with over 3 decades of combined experience, as well as an in-house counsel with extensive real estate experience. You can contact them at 516-600-9750. That's 516-600-9750. Anthony, this has been such a fun episode and show today. I really appreciate you being here.
Blessed.
Both of our names, Nalzalillo, Marino, we're from the old country, so to speak.
They end it with a vowel and O, the same one.
Yep, exactly.
So we're not related?
Yeah, maybe. Hey, listen, aren't we all? So, Anthony, you mentioned before your father was your greatest mentor and your idol. Tell us a little bit about his story and how you've gotten to where you are today because of him.
Absolutely, sure. Well, both of my parents are from Italy. They were immigrants. My dad came here when he was 10. My mom was 16. And it's the classic Horatio Alger story. He really didn't have anything, not a dime in his pocket, but he was always very intelligent, very diligent, and he was always going to school. And growing up, we did not come from means. We really didn't have a lot of money. My mother was actually my lunch school lady in 7th and 8th grade, but my dad was always going to school during that time. And I would say by that, again, we grew up mediocre. We didn't have cable. We didn't have air conditioning. And I grew up in the 5 towns. In that area, people had more than we did. But my father was always like, don't worry, things will change. I'm going to school. I'm doing this. I'm doing that. By the time I was 17, that's when my life really changed, where he became very successful, business executive,
Wow.
and he earned every bit of it because, like I said, he had nobody, he had nothing. Everything
Right.
was completely self-earned. And watching that transition and watching the way he worked, it was beyond influential. I mean, it really was. As I said, from A to Z, what he did for his family and the way he literally everything
Yeah.
he did, his driving force, just as every Italian, I'm sure you can relate,
Yeah.
is their family and
Yeah.
their children. So everything he really did, he did for us. And
Yeah.
I'm watching that just instilled in me the desire and the wherewithal to emulate and sort of do what he did.
Yeah, I mean, it is such an amazing story when I think about what our families did and even like my wife's family, they everybody that immigrated to this country has just taken such an incredible course to get to where we are by the second, third generations.
Yes.
Right. I mean, you're what, first generation
Correct.
Italian
I didn't speak English
American.
till I was 6. My brother Mario and I were in a bilingual program, believe it or
Okay,
not.
wow, that's it's amazing to think that he learned English, he did all of this, and he wound up rising to a C-suite position with a major company on Long Island, which is amazing.
Phenomenal. I mean, you can't write a story.
Right. Well, you
Like that.
just did. You just
Right, I
wrote
guess
a
I
great
did. All
story.
right.
You
Okay.
just told that great
I
narrative.
got to copyright it.
Well, we're on the air, so it's
Right,
recorded.
right,
it's
right.
out there.
Okay, yeah.
You would know about that
right,
better than I. So let me ask you. You went to Hofstra, correct?
Yeah, Hofstra Law, correct.
And where'd you go to undergrad again?
I went to SUNY Albany.
So
undergrad.
both of us were up in the the capital district.
Yeah,
we
sure.
both. I was at Union College in Schenectady. You were over at
okay.
SUNY Albany, so we were right across,
Hop, skip,
20
and a
minutes
jump.
away.
Exactly.
That's awesome. I just love.
You sure we're not related?
And it's positive, man. It's possible, And listen, there's so much more to you than just being and I don't mean just being, but being a lawyer, being an attorney. You're also in a band, correct?
Yes, that's correct. I play in an acoustic duo called Once Believe. Music has always been part of my life. I've been playing guitar since I was probably in 8th grade, 7th grade.
Okay.
I own about 16 guitars and all different kinds of amps. And my wife's not a big fan of what the bedroom looks like.
Right.
But music is food for the soul, and it's my outlet as far as stress relief. If I'm in a creative mood, whether I'm happy, upset, sad, music always for me happens to be the channel to express whatever it is you're feeling at any given time, and it's therapeutic as well.
Oh, absolutely. I always say, it does feed the soul. Music is the essence of your soul at times. It's a thing that
Absolutely, sure.
really connects with you. And, it's so important to have these self-care activities because listen, you're an attorney, you have closings probably up the wazoo. You probably have so much pressure on you all the time.
Never stops.
Yeah, never stops. Right. And you have to have those outlets to be able to take care of yourself.
For sure.
And music is that. And what was the name of the band again?
Once Believed.
Once Believed, and they're on Instagram, right? At
We're
Once
on
Believed.
Instagram and we're on Facebook too.
At Facebook. So Once Believed, and you guys have been playing. You just played at Patty Power a couple of weeks ago in Merrick,
Yep.
and you've played other places.
Yeah, we just we played at Patty Power. We just finished playing at 247 2 weeks
Okay.
ago in Hicksville. We were supposed to play this Saturday, but I was supposed to be going away for Memorial Day weekend. That ended up not happening. But anyway, yeah. So we should have upcoming gigs. So
That's
check
fantastic.
that out also.
That's awesome. So let me just go back to real estate for a quick second. What's one of the biggest challenges that you see day to day in your everyday?
That's a great question. The problem is with real estate, there's the saying, too many cooks spoil the broth. When you're representing a person, whether it's a buyer or seller, you have to take into account most of them have not done this before. And if they have, it's been a while since they have done it.
Right.
So they really need TLC. When they're getting information from the mortgage banker, their attorney, the real estate broker, or they're listening to their friend, or the worst thing, Dr. Google, which is the worst place to look, it infects their mind to a certain degree, and it really complicates things tenfold. So I'm always of the opinion, and I always say to them, look, just really listen to me. I'm not discrediting anyone else, but at the end of the day, I'm your last line of defense. I'm your bodyguard. I'll be there for you. I understand this is probably one of the biggest, if not the biggest investment you're making. And if you're selling, you're parting with a home that you grew up in, your kids grew up in. So it's sentimentally and emotionally entangled, and I get that. So just listen to me, and everything will be fine. fine.
You got to play coach. You got to play psychologist. You got to play all these different roles.
A lot of hats.
It's a lot of hats to wear, and I know you love wearing your hats, man.
Yeah.
But
Love my fedora.
Exactly, and I like how you said Dr. Google. I would have said Google Esquire.
Right. Yeah. You're right.
In your case, right. In my case, as a former healthcare provider, yes, Google was the enemy of everything because people get diagnosed and they self-diagnose, and it's the same thing. You try to figure things out, but that's why there's experts like you to coach them through that process, to help them resolve their issue. And you understand the importance of that, and that's part of it.
Sure.
So, listen, Anthony, I want to thank you again for being on the show today. I really appreciate it. So tell people how they can reach out to you a little bit, summarize what you do, and then we'll go from there.
Tom, before I do that again, thank you so much for giving me the opportunity to be here.
Absolutely.
I had a great time. Show is spectacular. I'm a big fan of the show and a big fan of you. You're great at what you do. It's effortless, and you should be commended. As far as what I do and where you can find me, again, I am a real estate attorney. If you're seeking any legal services for real estate or obviously for title, you can reach out to me. My email is anthony@onpointland.com. Our website is www.onpointland.com. We are on Facebook and Instagram at onpointland.
Fantastic. And thank you again to On Point Land for sponsoring today's show. And thank you to you for being here. And listen, anytime you want to come back, my friend, we'll get you another slot. We'll talk about it. We'll maybe open up the phone lines the next time and have people call in and ask questions. We'll do some marketing around that and get you a little bit more.
Looking forward to it, my friend.
All right, fantastic. Well, I want to thank Anthony for being here. And listen, I want to thank all of you for listening to our show today. And we're going to be back after this commercial break. But in the meantime, go visit onpointland.com, On Point Land Services on Instagram and Facebook. And again, follow me at Tom Marino Coaching on Instagram. Message me. Go like some of my posts, people. I need some more follows out there. Not that I'm begging for it, but I'm putting out so much content that is there for you. I want to help you. I want to know that I'm reaching you. And if there's something that you want to ask, don't hesitate to ask for help. That's really important. All right, we will be back right after this commercial break.
I should probably warn you, I'll be just fine.
Hey, this is Tom Marino of The Tom Marino Show here. Imagine you wake up and you've had a major sewer backup in your home. Well, let me tell you about a company that I've worked with personally, New House Restoration, where they take your damaged old house and make it a new house. For any water, fire, mold, or asbestos damage, please call them at 631-604-8590. That's 631-604-8590. New House Restoration.
Because I'm happy. Clap along.
And welcome back to the Tom Marino Show. I'm your host, success strategy coach Tom Marino. Thank you so much for tuning back in today. It is May 26th. It is a Memorial Day weekend, and I am so excited because the cabanas open up at Nickerson Beach, and I've got a cabana down there. I'm excited because it is beach season, people. It is beach season, and I cannot wait to get down to the beach to hang out. It's one of my favorite things to do. It's part of my self-care regimen. I just want to, again, thank Anthony Nozzolillo for being on the show today from On Point Land Services. He's just a tremendous person, and you heard it here. His energy is awesome, and he's just a great guy, and I really like the opportunity to have him here. What I wanted to do in this last part of the show is I wanted to talk to you about the constant re-traumatization that we experience, and I did not want to go through a whole show and not talk about the tragedy that happened in Texas the other day on Tuesday. A few weeks ago I mentioned and dedicated a whole episode to trauma-informed coaching and how I look at every client, every prospective client, everyone that I serve is having gone through some form of trauma. And I apply those principles of trauma-informed care into my coaching practice. And in the episode, I spoke about the importance of us being aware of people in our world that may have been victims of trauma and how that comes out, the agitation, the feelings of disrespect, how that all manifests in our day-to-day when we're at the grocery store and we see somebody losing their stuff. But here we are again. Somebody else has lost his stuff. This tragedy took 21 lives, 19 of them being children. And again, we're traumatized. And we cannot just be numb by this experience. First, my condolences to all of those parents out there who lost a child on Tuesday. I can't even imagine what they're going through. It's been 10 years since Sandy Hook. It's been 10 days since the shooting in Buffalo when people going shopping at a grocery store, and now Uvalde, Texas. When will it stop? You know, the other night I was watching the news and I was so moved by what Steve Kerr, the coach of the Golden State Warriors, said. And I quote, he was so angry at this press conference. He said, "When are we going to do something? I'm tired. I'm so tired of getting up here and offering condolences to devastated families out there. I'm tired of the moments of silence. Enough." And he went on to go a little bit more political. And I'm not going to get that political, even though I know this is a political station and political show sometimes. I want to just go out there and make sure that everybody knows that we're all thinking the same thing. The question keeps resonating. When will it stop? When will it stop? It's the question on everybody's mind. It's another shooting that we hear of. It's another loss of innocent life. Children going to school, people going to houses of worship, and people shopping to feed their families. There should never be a phrase after that says, "and then they were murdered, shot in cold blood by a gunman with an assault weapon." Those are the headlines, people. Those are the things that are out there. But when are we going to stop this? It should never be the case. It's another trauma that we experience as human beings. It's the numbness that we continuously feel when we hear it's another. When will it stop? Nothing is going to stop until we take action. And I'm not saying get rid of the Second Amendment. And I'm not going to get too political here. If you want to bear arms, there's a right to bear arms. I'm fine with that. Bear arms, but bear arms responsibly. Do background checks. This is the most political you're ever going to hear me, people. But I'm tired of it, because until this country decides to invest more money in mental health services and pay therapists and pay coaches and pay people who can help mental health and improve the mental health of this country, it's not going to stop. We've got to take action. We need to act and fight for our lives, for our children's lives. As a parent, we worry every minute that our child is out of our reach, because we can't trust what other people are going to do, what they're going to choose to do. It is one of our greatest fears that our children will not come home to us. We have seen this, especially over the last 25 years. It's gotten worse, and it keeps getting worse. How do we keep going when this fear is only validated further by these experiences? Listen, we're never going to be able to remove the fear fully. We're never going to be able to stop it from happening again, but we need to do something to reduce the chance of it stopping. We need to take action. Talk about taking action by encouraging people who are not feeling well mentally to get help. If you see someone in crisis, offer help. Encourage them to get help. Don't be afraid to ask them if they're okay. Ask them, how are you really feeling? You know, during the COVID pandemic, the state of New York put out a whole thing. How are you, really? How are you really? Don't tell me you're just fine. You're not fine. We've just been through a pandemic, people. We've been quarantined for 2 years. We've had to change how we live our lives every day. We've all been traumatized. Remind people to get help. Give them permission to ask for help. Give yourself permission to ask for help. We all need it. These kids at Robb Elementary School in Uvalde, Texas, they're changed forever. We're changed forever. The kids that went to Columbine, the kids that went to Parkland, all these campuses and schools, these events have changed them for life. They are all victims of trauma. They will need help. Stop teaching our children to be ashamed when they ask for help. Encourage them to ask for help. Raise your children so it's part of their DNA to ask for help. That's what makes it less strange or less odd or less stigmatizing. Don't be a hero. Don't be a hero. No one needs you to be a hero. If you need help, get the help that you need. And I can help you. I'm pleading to anyone who really needs help right now. Reach out to me, and if I can help you, I'm going to help you. If I can't help you, I'm going to get you to the place where you need to be to get the best help possible. Everyone has their struggles. Everyone has their vices. But don't be a martyr. These kids the other day that were shot in cold blood are the martyrs. They're dying because we're not doing enough in this country to take care of our mental health and our mental wellness. As adults and parents, we struggle to understand this. why this happened. It happened because it's an opportunity to take action yet again. Don't miss this opportunity to take action. I don't want to be on the show a year from now and having another conversation around this. We need to stop fighting to make other people richer. I don't care what's going on in Washington right now. We need to come together right now and do what's right. We don't need assault weapons on our streets. We're not living in a third world country. We're not living in a world where we're fighting for food. We're living in a world that's very different. We need to have conversations and find the common ground and work together. Stop competing with each other. Competition is not making it safer for our country. Work together to find a solution. Collaboration will make us safer. It's not a political issue, people. It's a human issue. Please stop fighting in Washington, D.C. and across our country. I'm begging of you. You know, today is a day where it's hard for me to say choose your adrenalized life. But what is an adrenalized life? It's about taking action and making hard decisions. If you're adrenalized, you're acting decisively. And if you're acting decisively, you've been empowered to take care of yourself. And if you've been adrenalized, it's because you have a great self-care regimen and you know how to take care of yourself. And if you see someone that doesn't know how to take care of themselves, help them. Help them take care of themselves. As we conclude this, here are my key takeaways. Ask for help. Support people who ask for help. And act. Don't let inaction be the reason for another tragedy. In honor of Memorial Day, I want to thank all the men and women in this country who served to protect our freedom, who could never have imagined that this would be happening on our soil. This is what they fought for. This is what the rights that they fought for to keep us free. So I want to thank everyone for tuning in today. Reach out to me at Tom Marino Coaching on Instagram. Again, I want to thank Anthony Nazzolillo for On Point Land Services for being on the show today. And until next time, this is Tom Marino saying, choose your adrenalized life.